Great job displaying messages from your Python programs using the built-in function print and fstrings. At this point, you know how to use quite a few of Python's built-in functions. Let's look back at the chart again. We have type, which tells us the type of a variable, all of the typecasting functions like float and bool, and the one you just practiced, print, which can display information from your program to the console. Let's look at one more function that will make your Python code more interactive, input. So what does the input function do? Similarly to how print lets us send messages to the console from our program, input lets us take information from the console into our program. When we call the input function, Python prints whatever message we put in between the parentheses to the console. Then the program will wait for the user to type a response and hit enter. The user's response is treated like a string value in the code, and you can store it in a variable like you would any other value. Let's look at how this works in the code editor. Here, we're going to ask the user their name by putting the string, "Hi, what's your name?" in the parentheses of the input function. When the input function gets a response from the console, the value will be stored as a string in the variable name. Let's run this code and see the input function in action. So I'm going to put my name, Catherine, as the input and hit enter. And we can see that my name got assigned to the name variable, and then that variable was used to print the greeting. Now let's look at one more example to see an error you might run into while using the input function. So this is a snowboard length calculator. And what happens is I'm going to put in my height in inches, and Python is going to use the expression inside the print function to calculate how big of a snowboard I should buy. So I am 70 inches tall. So why are we getting this error? Python is telling us that it can't multiply a float by a non-int type in this expression. In order to use the input height as a numerical value in the expression, we need to first convert our height string that came from the input function to a float. Now that we've done the type conversion, the Python program works like we expected. Remember that even though Python error messages can sometimes look cryptic, if you read them carefully, they have a lot of great information. As you start to learn the common errors that you run into, it will get easier to recognize exactly what's happening in your code to cause them. Use the next activity to get some practice with getting input into your Python code.